Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review of another Adam Sandler film. This time it is Airheads from 1994, which I really enjoy. I think it's a very fun, funny movie. I think it's an underrated film. Uh, Come to learn that it does have a Blu-ray, but it's out of print, so it's like 150 or 200 or $225 that people are selling it on eBay, let alone Amazon. So yeah, no one's going to pay that much for a Blu-ray of Airheads. So, and the film did not do well when it came out. Not many people talk about it, but it's a very funny movie. And these three did a great job. That's Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler. And this has a great cast because you also have Michael McKean, Michael Richards, uh, Joe Mantegna, Ernie Hudson, Chris Farley, David Arquette, Judd Nelson, Harold Ramis, Lemmy from Motorhead, Marshall Bell, like Beavis and Butthead make a cameo voice-wise. White Zombie, by Rob Zombie, is playing in the background one scene. Yeah, a lot of familiar people, which is really cool. And hell, the movie starts out with Motorhead and Ice-T with Born to Raise Hell, Born to Raise Hell. I mean, Lemmy, may he rest in peace, and Ice-T together to start your movie? Come on. It's a pretty damn good flick. And these three guys are musicians. They have a band called the Lone Rangers, which I love that joke. Lone Rangers? Well, there's three of you. You're not exactly lone. I have no idea what you're talking about. And Brendan Fraser is trying to get to talk to Judd Nelson to get, listen to our tape. He doesn't want anything to do with it. His girlfriend gets pissed at him and kicks him out of the apartment, so he lives with the other two guys. Adam Sandler is the drummer, and I think Adam Sandler and Steve Buscemi, they play brothers. And this was the first time Steve Buscemi worked with Adam Sandler. Steve Buscemi worked with Adam Sandler many, many times. He was in The Wedding Singer. He was in Big Daddy as the homeless guy. He was in Mr. Deeds as Crazy Eyes. He was in, I think he has a voice in those Hotel Transylvania movies. He's in Grown Ups. He's in Billy Madison as the sniper guy. He's in a lot of his movies, so he must have liked working with Adam on this. And it's written by the guy who did Heathers as well as Hudson Hawk. So go from Heathers to Hudson Hawk to this movie. Three pretty different types of comedies, but all three I like. So yeah, Michael Lehmann, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And they're a band. They break into this radio station where Joe Mantegna is the host. Michael McKean, he's the asshole boss, and they just want their tape heard. They get a lot of flack for it, so they have these Uzis, but they're really water pistols with like hot sauce in them. And they take hostages, or it ends up happening that way, and then a bunch of cops, Ernie Hudson and Chris Farley are two of the cops. Marshall Bell is this out of it SWAT guy. Michael Richards is this nervous guy who works at the station. This is before that whole racist tirade at the club. This is well before that. This is when it was just Michael Richards, and he's going through the ventilation shafts. David Arquette pretty much plays a stoner, where he's like, "You guys are crazy, man. You're like woohoo and shit." It was cool to have a lot of familiar people in this, and a good soundtrack. Adam Sandler, I like his character. He gets to make it with the hot lady who's like riding him, and as she's riding him, he's like, "Help!" Joe Mantegna, I like that he was a radio host that wasn't a complete asshole, and he actually goes towards the side of these guys. And I thought he was pretty cool. It's definitely one of my favorite roles of Joe Mantegna. Michael McKean plays a fun dickhead, where he's like, hey, wait a minute, how come she gets a chair? Well, you know what? How about everyone gets a chair except for you? Beavis and Butthead come into play because they're taking, people. Go ahead, call in, and Beavis and Butthead actually call in. They go, hey, we saw you, and you guys suck. Yeah, you kiss my ass. So Brendan Fraser tells Beavis and Butthead to kiss his ass. Again, this is a very fun movie, very underrated film. It brings a smile to my face. It really does. It's definitely one of my favorite films Adam Sandler's been in. It's very entertaining. Chris Farley, is cool to see him in this. And, I did a Chris Farley marathon, so it's fun to go to this, which he's in. Coneheads I will do one day, because someone actually told me I used to have a DVD, and I must have accidentally gotten rid of that DVD long ago, because it had, like, The Ladies Man and Superstar in it, so I guess I saw those two and said fuck it, and I was going to get Coneheads by itself. And then I never ended up doing it, but maybe after I go through all this, I'll go back and watch some of like Coneheads. I don't know. We'll see. But there's also some nice bits of conversation where they talk about the music, at least of that day. And Brendan Fraser, he's talking about, you guys always go on about classic music. You think I give a shit about the Beatles? Well, your music doesn't say anything. You think Purple Haze says something? Like, there's some nice little bits of dialogue sprinkled out throughout the jokes. And yet Chris Farley, he's a lot of fun. He's looking for this girlfriend of Brendan Fraser's to bring her to the station because it's one of the demands. And this guy keeps fucking with them with all these piercings. He's like, what are you going to do about it, fat boy? Now Chris Farley just takes the piercing, just rips it off his nipple, and is like, improvise. Thought that was a cool badass moment that Chris Farley did get. The crazy requests that they get to maybe plead insanity later, like naked pictures of B. Arthur. And again, some nice dialogue sprinkled throughout. Like I said, there's another one where he's like, you know what? Yeah, I have this tattoo of a Grim Reaper. And so I, get off my ass and do something. And, maybe write a song that lasts forever. And then after that, it doesn't matter. And also, fun bits like Harold Ramis, who pretends, we don't know it yet, but he pretends he's part of a record company. And they ask questions like, who'd win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God? Lemmy. What, God? Wrong, dickhead. Trick question. Lemmy is God. I thought that was fun. And Lemmy actually makes a cameo in a not party, but in the crowd later that's gathered around to see these guys. Also, I like the bit in that where Harold Ramis is like, you guys gonna be the next Marty Mark and the Funky Bunch. And they're like, Marty Mark, man, that guy sucks. Thank you. Thank you. I think Steve Buscemi says that, but thank you. They said Marky Mark sucks. And his Funky Bunch. He's like, man, that guy sucks. Thank you. Yes. I felt the same way for years. Marky Mark does suck. You should go back to the Funky Bunch and stop fucking acting. Fuck Marky Mark. Not personally, I don't know the guy. I'm just not a fan of his acting. And unless it's something like The Big Hit, which is fine, or The Italian Job. But Transformers, Planet of the Apes, The Happening, nah, not really. No thanks. There's even a point where they give him this bogus contract, Brendan Fraser, and he takes it, he wipes his ass, and Joe Bentayta is like, he wipes his ass with his record contract. I love this guy. And again, even the soundtrack is good, like the band. I guess it was a song from the 80s that they brought back, but then they just had Brendan Fraser do the vocals. It was called Degenerated. And at the end, they play live in prison, and things work out because they get out, and their album goes triple platinum. So all works out. But yeah, Adam Sandler, he's, people think he's annoying in movies. Not at all in this. He's not doing funny sound effects or noises. He's low key. Steve Buscemi, this is definitely one of my favorite parts he's played because you don't see Steve Buscemi in this kind of role that often. He really didn't, so that was very fun to play. And I like Brendan Fraser. I've always liked Brendan Fraser. You know, I like him in Encino Man. George of the Jungle is okay. Deli Do Right sucked, but The Mummy I liked. The Mummy Returns was there. But yeah, Brendan Fraser, I've never had a problem with him. You know, I always liked him. And definitely one of my favorite roles he's played. And he got a great cast, a good soundtrack, fun, entertaining. The film works as a comedy. Goes at a fast pace. It's like 90 minutes long. Goes by very quick. Did not feel long at all. Everyone had good chemistry together. These three guys worked well together. I'm kind of surprised Brendan Fraser hasn't popped up in other Adam Sandler movies like Steve Buscemi did. Because even Brendan Fraser, if Brendan Fraser was willing to pop up for Pauly Shore stuff, like in the Army now, and I think he was in The Son-in-Law as well, I think he'd be willing to pop up for Adam Sandler stuff, but I guess Adam Sandler never asked him. I don't know, maybe they just were never close. I don't know. But he must have gotten close to Steve Buscemi because Buscemi kept coming back for many movies. Be a question to ask Brendan Fraser. Like, how come he haven't shown up in any of Adam's other movies when he got, you know, bigger and more popular? But hey, you have two Ghostbusters in it, Ernie Hudson and Harold Ramis. Granted, they don't share the same frame, but it was cool. It's like, wow, there's two Ghostbusters in the movie. That's pretty neat. Um, and White Zombie, that's the concert that Chris Farr is looking for the girlfriend of Fraser's character. This is when it was White Zombie, not just Rob Zombie. This is when White Zombie was a thing. Judd Nelson, he plays a nice dick, like Michael McKean plays a nice, you know, not a nice as in they're kind, but they do a good job being a dick, you know, a two-faced prick. And it's sort of a different kind of role for Judd Nelson, of course, from the Breakfast Club. The direction was fine, competent, more than competent. I don't really have any problems with Airheads. This was a lot of fun to rewatch. I wish it would get a special edition. Although this DVD actually had, I mean, not a lot, but it had like a trailer, TV spot, two music videos, including Born to Raise Hell. I think the other was White Zombie. And then like a little making of from back in the day. But it's not really a making of, it's sort of like a faux, as if it was really happening. So it's like one of those making ofs that was fun to see because, you know, it's part of the movie's history, but I would like to have seen an actual making of. Let alone, you know, it would have been nice to have a commentary on this. Interviews. I don't know, I would think this does have somewhat of a cult following, so it would be nice to have a special edition Blu-ray of this. Interviews with these guys. I think that'd be fun. A lot of good people in the cast. But I don't know, maybe I'm just fooling myself. Either way, definitely in my favorites list of Adam Sandler flicks, as well as these two other guys. Definitely my favorite. It's a very good, fun comedy. And I just like the idea. These rock stars take over a radio station, and I like the setup. I like the location that they use. I like the idea for the plot, for the script. I think it's a fun idea. And, you know, I would say underrated because the film came out and did absolutely nothing, which, considering what comedies do become hits, is a fucking shame, in my opinion. But either way, thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you guys later.